Today's the day, the cold summer cookout in Tuscaloosa. We're going to get into that. Who's in town? Guys have been coming into town. They're fired up about being in Tuscaloosa from all over the country and meeting Coach DeBoer. But Tide got some bad news. We'll get into that as well. Another flip being reported and more right here on the Bama Tailgate YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. And let's get this thing going. Let's update you on everything going on in the world of Alabama. Roll Tide. All right, today is the day that the cookout actually takes place, and we heard that there were a lot of players that came in yesterday, but they're here today. The cookout's happening. He's Brett Elmore at Brett Elmore Show. I'm Mick Gillespie at Broadcaster Mick, and I feel like just coming into this, kind of disappointed, with the cookout being today. How about the fourth time that Antonio Coleman has flipped, the Saraland DB reportedly flipping back to Auburn? So he's Alabama, Auburn, Alabama, and now back to Auburn, but he's going to be at the cookout today from what you're hearing.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we've talked about, Mick, about these commitments. And Alabama's done so well with their commitments, but it doesn't matter until they sign on the dotted line. We've talked about it so much. It's we still got to get them to sign.
Yeah, right.
And it doesn't look like some folks are going to sign. Coleman flips back to Auburn. He committed to Alabama in September. He flipped to Auburn in December. Flipped back to Alabama in March. And now he's flipped back to Auburn. Now,
but he's going to be in T-Town today. And, what was it? First reported by Hayes Fawcett. Did I get that right?
From On3. Right. Hayes Fawcett from On3 reported that. And Cole Pinkston has reported on Twitter. He's an Auburn recruiting analyst. He said, as of last night late, he said at last check with Antonio Coleman, he was still planning to visit Alabama tomorrow, which is today, but certainly did not rule out flipping before he left. But he said he's on his way to Tuscaloosa. I don't know what's going on, but I think you do. And you hit it right on the head before we went on the air.
Yeah, this is a bidding war, right? And that's what this is. I mean, and I'll tell you what, like some of the stories I've heard about this stuff, including the whole Caleb Downs thing, which is just absolutely crazy. Maybe we'll talk about it on one of these shows. But these guys are going to hold these teams' feet to the fire. I mean, there's no contracts. You can do whatever you want, and Alabama and Auburn are going to get into some bidding wars for players in state, and Akylin Dear has to get the top guys in the state of Alabama, or watch the Iron Bowl start going back down on the plains. And they haven't won that thing in a while. Fear the thumb, but these are times where anything could potentially happen. There's really not a lot of loyalty. And I'm sure for Coleman, I mean, this is a tough decision too, man. You got these guys pulling you every direction and everything else. But I was excited to have him back. He goes to the same high school that Ryan Hollywood Williams went to in Saraland. It's a really talented group of guys there. Alabama needs these defensive line recruits. I think that's one of the areas where I worry about this team. Now, we're going to talk about some other guys who are going to be in Tuscaloosa and aren't going to be in Tuscaloosa in that position group. But this, if they don't get him, I mean, it's a double whammy. Not only do you not help your defensive line with one of the best in the state and in the country, but you also lose them to your arch rival.
Yeah, that's a big hit. I mean, like I mentioned, this guy is, he's a 4-star, and Hayes Fawcett reported it first. But, I don't know what's going on there. And it is a tough decision for these kids. Let's remind ourselves that, these kids, if they're seniors in high school, they're 18, 17 years old. It's a tough choice to make, but this flip-flop, I don't know if he's heading to the cookout today or not. I would trust that Twitter report, I believe. But, if I was Alabama, I don't know if I would have it,
Right. I'm looking at the On3 recruiting machine, and they still have Bama as a 53.5% chance of getting this guy. I don't think there's really any way to predict it, but maybe he flips back today after he comes to Tuscaloosa. You know what? Who knows? But this is the second guy, and this weekend, Juice Gordon also decommitted and committed to UCF. This is a guy in the 26 class, so you got some time to work on him from Jackson, Alabama. But man, I mean, what's going on here?
Well, we talked about it, and we thought this is going to happen. You're going to have players that's until you get them on the dotted line. It's great to have that commitment, but once you get them signed, I mean, it means nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It means nothing, but still, you got to love this class, and moving on. We got a 2026 5-star. The linebacker Xavier Griffin that we've talked about before, he's going to be in Tuscaloosa today, and he apparently says his interest is very, very high in Alabama because and we've heard this from other players too, feels like they're making him a priority.
Yeah, right.
So they're a priority for me, he said. He's the number one linebacker in the nation.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
So that it's win a few, lose a few, man, and we're getting to see that.
I wanted to talk about this. A lot of the services reporting about the guys that are going to be there and aren't going to be there. And my question is, of the three guys that I've said from the jump, really, since the last commitment, are the big recruiting guys, the big targets for Alabama: Akylin Dear, Khalil Lockett, and Justice Terry. Right, Justice Terry, the D lineman, linebacker type guy, really good football player out of Georgia. Lockett, the wide receiver out of Texas, and then obviously Dear, the running back out of Mississippi. Only Deer is going to be there. So the other two guys won't be at the cookout today. This is, with Akylin Dear, a player that I feel really good about as far as ending up at Alabama. I think that Terry's a guy that Alabama could desperately use. And then when you see the Coleman flip, and who knows what's going to happen down the road, but wow. I mean, maybe you really put the full court press, if you haven't already, on that 5-star, machine out of Georgia.
Well, there's some players that's going to be there. Two that stand out of the 2025 class, and that's Akylin Dear. And don't forget the safety, Anquan Fagans will be there. And then out of 2026, you've got 2, 4, 6 5-stars. Going to be in attendance. You got the quarterback Jackson Cantwell, the lineman Cantwell, the quarterback Ryder Lyons, edge rusher Anthony Jones, cornerback Blaine Bradford, linebacker Xavier Griffin, and you got so many other 4 and 3 stars that's going to be there, including Justice Fitzpatrick, who we've talked about some on the show. You've got a lot that's going to be there, and who are you going to make that impression on? I still say, even though this is Sunday morning, I still say after today's cookout and the weekend that they have or whatever, we're going to hear some commitments, probably some big time ones, before this is all said and done.
Yeah, I mean, if you follow this recruiting stuff every single day, It's like it'll drive you nuts. I mean,
Sure, yeah.
It's like, hey, we're doing well. Now we're not doing well. You're here. You're not here. Well, I don't want to be here anymore. Like, okay. With the
and two, and I didn't mean to interrupt, but Faizia Brandon, is going to be there, and this is huge for Alabama because it looks like he's like a Tennessee lock, but who knows what'll happen there? And he's a number one player in the entire class, man. I mean, so good to have him on campus.
Yeah, and shout out to On3. They do great work with this stuff.
Oh yeah,
Satarian Morgan, wide receiver, coming to Tuscaloosa. I love the fact that they got Barack Willis listed, a 2027 guy.
Yeah.
But that's what this is all about, man. It's building relationships and trying to get these guys comfortable with the staff and to really kind of embrace Alabama. But I think the days of an entire class really being in love with, a school and not the perks that you get from it are over. Maybe not, maybe not all the guys, but some of the guys. And if you're Alabama, it's important to get the best players in the country. But if someone is just there for the money and they're not there because they want to be there, you could mess up the chemistry of your whole team. So that's something that they really have to think about kind of moving forward. And, and I'm sure that's what they'll work through. The good thing is that as you lose guys, there's guys that are committed to other schools that you could go out and get as well.
Right.
And, this thing's far from over. I mean, we're talking about this isn't going to be done until the end of football season. Right.
And you talk about the perks, and we've talked about NIL so much, and how we hate it. That's kind of what we opened up with. But, I wanted to touch on a situation that happened at Thompson High School, which if you're not familiar with the state of Alabama and high school football, Thompson's probably one of the top programs in the state. Mark Freeman does a great job there, but their quarterback, Trent Seaborn, NIL is not allowed on the high school level in the state of Alabama at this point. Now, and I'll tell you how wild this is, and I don't even think I've talked to you about this, Mick, but, I do the play-by-play for Jasper High School, and they're already getting a plan together for NIL. They have met with lawyers, and I think it's so crazy, because I never thought that it would come to this.
Right.
But anyway, Seaborn, he's a 16-year-old kid, and I think about I've talked about it before on the show. My own son, he's 16 years old. He's washing dishes as his job, and his dad walks in and says, "Hey, good news, bad news. The bad news first. NIL's not allowed in Alabama. The good news is there's a trading card company that wants to give you a 7-figure NIL deal, and he would have to transfer out of state to get it, and he turned it down."
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you have to leave, and he's in a good situation there, but Alabama's got to adjust to the way that things are today. And I'm going to tell you this honestly, guys, I would go to Georgia for $1 million. I mean,
I would move to Alaska for $1 million.
That's a long way away. It's cold there, and there's grizzly bears.
I could fight them off with $1 million. I'd have stacks of money that just absolutely protects me in my igloo. But no, I mean, this is crazy. I mean, that puts a perspective on what's going on. But he's happy in Alabaster, Alabama, playing for his team. It was a sophomore phenom. I think he'll be a junior this year.
Right.
But it's like so crazy, man.
Yeah. Guys, I want to remind you that the show's brought to you by newlifeart.com. Use the promo code Bama Tailgate and get the calendar. Look at that. Autographed by Daniel Moore right on the side. See that up there on the top corner right there? Yeah, he's going to sign that himself. So use the promo code Bama Tailgate and you'll get the autographed calendar when you buy a calendar at New Life Art. So I think it's pretty cool. I like that. I've got one at my house. And I want to remind you too, guys, that the show is brought to you by our friends at Pearl River Resort over in Philadelphia, Mississippi. Dancing Rabbit Golf Course is the Augusta you can play. We've had milder weather lately, and hey, you can get out there and hit those golf balls. What a wonderful course. Best in Mississippi, one of the best in the entire South. And if you go to the sports book, at the Golden Moon Casino and you spend $50, you can actually go out there and for $40 play golf. So that's your entry to Around the Golf at Dancing Rabbit. Table games and slots, you got those at Silver Star and at Golden Moon. You got the Geyser Falls Water Park, all of that, plus more, some great acts like Rodney Carrington coming and some big country acts that are going to be announced as they celebrate their 30th anniversary at Pearl River Resort. When we come back, Brett takes over the show, and he'll tell you all about what's going on today. So don't go anywhere. We're going to be you'll want to see Brett's intro. It's really fun.
To Pearl River Resort. They call him Big Sexy, coming at you from the Walker County. Jasper is his hometown. He's known for giving free rundowns. Oh, Big Sexy, throwing out those Alabama thoughts, sneaking out your mom's window without getting caught. Nick gives you the XP, but Big Elmo is here to please. Big Sexy Elmo on the Bama Tailgate Show.
What an intro. What an intro for you, man.
Man, I tell you what.
What are you giving free rub downs? That's what your song says. It says you're giving free rub downs.
From time to time, I might.
At Wesley's Booby Trap?
Yeah, at the Booby Trap. Need to do the show from out there. I need to call them and book a time.
Yeah.
Celebrity birthdays today. Let's see. Sally Struthers, 77 today.
Okay, is Sally Struthers the one that used to like run around with Burt Reynolds? No, that wasn't Sally. No, Sally Struthers was the one that was she was on All in the Family. Okay.
No. Was she in All in the Family or Three's Company?
No, she was in All in the Family. She was also in Dinosaurs, Pebbles Flintstone, Pebbles and Bam Bam, Glamour Girls. I'm looking at her profile right now.
Was she the one that did the commercials late at night? That's like, these dogs.
Yes. I think she was.
All right. Yeah. She would do, for only 3 cents a day, you can feed these animals, and she'd be crying and everything. I was like, oh man,
I know. And when you've had like a long night out, or you're hanging with your friends and doing whatever, and you're just trying to watch some TV,
and then you're like, I'll give the 3 cents a day. Just go.
I'm like, turn the channel. Turn the
channel. CBS News anchor Scott Pelley is 67 today.
Scott Pelley. Yeah, I remember him. I'm not a big news, like, I like to read a lot of stuff. I don't really watch the news.
Yeah.
I know, unlike you, I definitely find a lot of, and I do like him, by the way. I'm looking at him right now. I just find a lot of the stuff they report to be untrue. So I don't think that's like you watch it and then, you know.
Here we go.
Oh, man.
Mick,
okay. Next. Mick, just go to the next thing.
Mick, give me your hand. You're fixing to get the ass whipping that Miss Pearl used to give you, your aunt or whatever. I'm gonna beat the hell out of you with this. Look, and my flip flop.
We're gonna go to Fox News and we're gonna be Hannity and Combs if this doesn't work. If this fails, guys, and you don't share this Alabama show with your friends, we're going to Hannity and Combs. We're gonna be new Hannity. Remember that show?
Yeah.
That's the only time they had two guys on different sides that were actually good together. You could tell they were friends.
My dad used to watch. Remember CNN used to have Crossfire?
Yes.
Crossfire.
Yeah.
My dad would never miss it.
Crossfire, yeah.
And he also
loved the McLaughlin group. Did you ever see the McLaughlin group? He'd ask you a question and he'd be like, wrong.
Wrong. The PBS NewsHour. I used to watch that as a kid because my dad would watch it. The McNeil era NewsHour. And I was like, oh, someone please take me out of my misery.
I used to watch that too. I still like it. I don't think that show's around, but yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, but
I remember my first job was at Alabama Public Radio doing the All Things Considered, the Alabama report.
All Things Considered, yes.
They put me in a room. They put me in a room. I was a student, and they put me in a room. I
can see you doing All Things Considered.
Well, this is what happened though. They put me in a room, and they wanted me to do like some like voice stuff. Like I was a behind the scenes guy, like collect audio. And then they took me and they were like trying to explain why I sounded like crap. And they're like, so we sound like this. And it was like, today in Foley, whatever. And then they're like, and you sound like this. And it was just like, blah, 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 So they were like, we can't use this. I wonder if I could do it now.
Today in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, we had a wreck on Highway 82, and it claimed the life of a man from Tuscaloosa County. This is All Things Considered on NPR.
There's road construction coming to Jasper.
Road construction coming to Jasper, and it's been taking way longer than it should.
They wouldn't say
I'm
that.
So upset that they won't get this bridge open here.
They would say the project is costing $40 million, and it should be completed by the end of 2026.
Right? Yeah. That's what we're facing here.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Let's see. This is a guy that you know. You're going to know him. Singer Afro Man is 50 today.
Man, okay, you're right. Okay, and I know that I've been stereotyped on here for the stuff that I did in college and sometimes still do. And I got to tell you, I've done that stuff listening to Afro Man.
But he used to come to Tuscaloosa
because I got high. I should have done the show with Brett, but I got high.
Should have done the Bama tailgate show, but then I got high.
Yeah.
I was going to go to the grill lot, then I got high and went anyway because I wanted some hot dogs and some hamburgers,
Is he still? He's 49 today, huh?
50 today.
50. So I didn't realize he's not. I mean, I'm not that much younger than him.
That's crazy, isn't it?
I would love to hang with Afro Man. That would be fun.
Oh, I'm sure you would. I'm sure you'd also love to carry that Olympic torch with Snoop Dogg. That thing wasn't a torch. That was a huge doobie.
My 12-year-old son loves Snoop Dogg, man. Like,
really?
Yeah, the thing about it is like I play it sometimes in the car for him, and I know he likes it, but there's just a lot of words that he doesn't need to say or hear on there, and it's like I know, man, but I can't have him going to school and like. But we all like Snoop Dogg. We all like Snoop Dogg. We went to the Wax Museum, and he wanted his picture with the Wax Snoop Dogg.
Right. I mean, that's why he's cool, man. I mean, give the kid a break.
Okay.
Looking at this day, things to celebrate today. The hamburger in 1900 was created this day by a gentleman and a scholar by the name of Louis Lassing in Kentucky.
No, it was Louis Hamburger in Kentucky.
Oh, you're crazy. It wasn't until the late 1970s though that McDonald's changed its recipe by adding a stray black hair to the hamburger, and that's when it just
Shame on you for that one.
That was terrible. I'm sorry.
But the thing about it is that there's certain people that that always find the hair. You know what I mean? Like, and then there's people like me that I probably would find it if I looked, but I ate it.
Oh my God. Yeah.
What? So Kentucky's really where hamburgers started? No.
I said Connecticut.
Oh, Connecticut. Cause I was thinking like, didn't they also master fried chicken in Kentucky? I was like, man, Kentucky's like this place I don't really think about a lot, but no, it's Connecticut. Okay. And then some McDonald's. You're lying about that. All right. Next. I do love McDonald's, but I haven't.
I had McDonald's last night. You know, it's good like late at night.
This is what people are like. I hate these guys.
You got a 40-piece nugget. It's supposed to feed 4. Okay, I'll eat them all.
Yeah.
Let's
6 nuggets isn't enough, though, dude.
Oh, dude, no way.
I mean, that's teasing.
Yeah, it really is. It is, and
20-piece nugget is a good wheelhouse.
Yeah, that's a good strong level right there. If you have the 20-piece nug, you're good. Today is also National Milk Chocolate Day.
Yeah, I like milk chocolate. I like, but
I
was gonna say, like, I'm more of a vanilla chocolate guy. Like, I like the vanilla flavored chocolate better than the.
Wait a minute, you talking about the white chocolate?
The white chocolate, yeah.
Okay.
Or the mix. I like the mix, but I love the hollow rabbit chocolate. You know, like we used to get at Easter.
Right. I bought at Easter. A Reese's Cup Easter egg that was about the size of an 8x10 frame, and I ate the whole thing.
I knew that was gonna. I kind of had a feeling you were going that direction.
Today's National Water Park Day. Be a great day to be at Pearl River.
Yeah, Geyser Falls. Yeah. Love water parks, man. And I'm like a little kid out there. And what's funny is I'll go and then, and then I end up like hanging with the kids. Like we're talking about what the best one is. And I forget sometimes.
Are we going belly first? Are we going back? Or what are we doing here?
Well, you get up the stairs, and in a lot of those places, you get up the stairs, and you got to like, so you talk to the other kids, or the adults, or whatever, and the kids will be like, "Hey, how was that one?" Because I'll do the scary ones, and then I'll be like, "Oh, bro, it was not that bad." Like, okay, man, like high five down, and then and then I'm coming back up, and they're like, "What'd you think?" And then I'm like, yeah, I guess I'm not 12, but
right. Yeah, no,
hanging with the gang.
It was sort of like with me as a kid. I'd go up and I'd climb all those steps. It'd be like 4 flights of steps. You finally get up there, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do this or not. And I was like, just get in the tube, and then they push you down. And I was like, the whole way. It was like, oh yeah, that was fun, but I almost died.
Yeah.
And let's see. Today's also World Hepatitis Day. So,
oh boy,
go ahead and celebrate that if you'd like. If we look at the timeline for today, let's see. Alice in Wonderland opened in theaters this day, 1951.
Yeah, and every time I think of the great Tom Petty, I always think of Tom Petty as the guy with the hat, and
right, yeah,
and he was
had that top hat,
but it was because he wore top hats before that, and then when that role came, it was like he slid right in there. Really trippy movie, not one of my favorites, but it's not bad either. It's just of those old movies, my favorite's always going to be Wizard of Oz.
Oh yeah, great movie. And I'm pretty sure you've listened to it backwards while watching, or watched it while listening to Pink Floyd, The Wall backwards.
No, Dark Side of the Moon, and you started
Dark
with the
Side of
third
the Moon.
line. I mean, not that I'm, telling anybody anything they don't know, but you start the CD right when, or you start to play it, Dark Side of the Moon, right when the third line roars at the beginning of the Wizard of Oz. Yeah, right at the beginning of it, and it's amazing. It's so good. Little tip.
Yeah, I gotcha. Sorry. And finally, the longest blood moon eclipse of the 21st century, lasting an hour and 43 minutes, happened this day in 2018.
How about that? Yeah. How about when the harvest moon? Have you ever seen one of those before? Like the moon looks giant, It
reminds me of Neil Young, his album Harvest Moon.
Yeah, great album.
Great album.
All right, Brett, anything else that you want to pop before we get out of here?
No, just roll tide, everybody. Hope everybody had a great weekend, and we'll keep an eye on what happens during the cookout today, and maybe we'll have some positive news coming out. I think we will.
Yeah, roll tide, everybody.